Good morning, my Real News Midday TV family. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning, and I'm wishing for everyone a wonderful and a productive day. And in the news this morning, 3 men killed by police in Montego Bay. 3 of the suspects reportedly linked to Friday's mass shooting in Montego Bay, St. James, were fatally shot during a police operation on Monday afternoon. This was confirmed by Senior Superintendent Carlos Russell, acting commanding officer for St. James. He told the news that the deadly confrontation took place in West Village. 2 firearms were reportedly seized. Superintendent Russell said the police are continuing their pursuit of all involved in the deadly attack on Hart Street in downtown Montego Bay. 7 people were shot, 2 fatally, when men carrying high-powered rifles opened fire on people at the intersection of Hart Street and Corinaldi Avenue. Exodus Dunkley, 27, of Flagstaff, and the 27-year-old Malik McDonald, a security guard of Hart Street, were killed. Investigators say Mr. Dunkley was the target of the attack linked to an ongoing gang conflict in the area. He was reportedly killed in reprisal for a murder committed in the area in April last year. This was the second triple killing by the police on Monday, following a similar incident in Greenhill, Westmoreland. A teenager was among 3 males fatally shot during that targeted operation. He has been identified as 15-year-old Sheldon McCullough, a student of Petersfield High School. Another deceased has been identified as 25-year-old Odin Baron, a reputed gang leader. The third man remains unidentified. 2 illegal firearms and 8 rounds of ammunition were reportedly seized by the police in that operation. The police reported that about 4:30 a.m. they went to an unoccupied house in an area known as Sticky Lane in Top Lincoln District after receiving reports that armed men were at the location. The 3 suspects were shot in the operation and their weapons seized. They were later pronounced dead at hospital. The news was informed that Barron was out on bail for the murder of Chantel Collar Whittingham in Paradise District on August 12, 2023. The police high command added that Barron had been the subject of multiple police operations dating back to 2017. They claim he was involved in the guns for drugs trade, including the supply of weapons to criminal networks in western Jamaica. Fire chief to probe alleged failures in attempt to put out house fire in Kencott. Head of the Jamaica Fire Brigade, Stuart Beckford, has given a commitment to probe allegations that firefighters were poorly prepared to combat a fire along South Road in Kencott, St. Andrew on Monday. The fire destroyed a 5-bedroom dwelling. No one was injured. Residents complained that the unit took a long time to respond to their calls, did not have enough water, and that the firefighters were disorganized in their attempt to put out the blaze. Mr. Beckford, in response, underscored the need for working hydrants in communities, stressing that once the trucks start releasing water into a fire, the water will be pumped out in a short while, and that is why it's important that there are working hydrants around the location of fires. There were no word on the cause of the blaze, which resulted in an estimated loss of $25 million, including 2 vehicles.
I am checking with my team in relation to the allegations made. The units are normally refilled once we have attended a scene, and it doesn't make sense you turn up at a fire with water. What will you be going to do? We are not setting up our people to be beaten up and so on at these scenes where people are going to be angry because you come without water. The truth is that these trucks, once they start to pump, water will be pumped out in a very short time, and that is why it's important that they are working hydrants in and around fires, so we can tap into these where they don't exist. We try to supply or supplement that with our water tender.
Johnson Penn Spanish Town woman stabbed in her sleep. 21-year-old attacker charged. A 21-year-old Johnson Penn Spanish Town St. Catherine woman has been charged for entering a woman's house and stabbing her while she slept. Gabrielle Cooper, otherwise called Gabby, is charged with wounding with intent. Reports from the Spanish Town police are that about 5 a.m. on Saturday, April 5, a woman was at home sleeping when she was awakened by a stab to her neck and Cooper inside her room. The woman reported that Cooper continued to stab her all over her body, causing bleeding. She was assisted to hospital for treatment, where she was admitted in serious condition. A report was made to the police, and Cooper was subsequently arrested and charged following a question and answer session. Her court date is being finalized. Trial of Sagicor fraud accused postponed to July 14. The trial of the 4 women charged in connection with the multi-million-dollar fraud racket uncovered at the Sagicor Bank in 2022 has been pushed back to July 14. The trial, which was scheduled to begin on Monday, is expected to span over several weeks. Elisa Moulton White, former vice president for group marketing at the Sagicor Group Jamaica, client care officer Tishon Samuels, and Tricia Monique Moulton and Malika McLeod, former Sagicor Bank employees, are accused of conspiring and defrauding the U.S. foreign currency accounts of about 6 Sagicor customers. Their bail was extended when they appeared in the Kingston and the St. Andrew Parish Court on Monday morning. Investigators say more than $60 million was defrauded from customers' accounts in the alleged scam. One account was reportedly defrauded of $40 million. Prior to Monday's adjournment, the prosecution indicated that it was ready to proceed. Attorneys at law Anne-Marie Furtado Richards and Terrence Williams are prosecuting the matter on a fiat. Defense attorneys were also served with a copy of the indictment. PNP promises 50,000 new NHT houses. The opposition People's National Party is promising to construct more than 50,000 National Housing Trust units for first-time homeowners if it forms the next government. PNP General Secretary Dr. Dayton Campbell, speaking at a party meeting in the constituency of Manchester South on Sunday night, argued that most working Jamaicans are not able to purchase an affordable unit from the NHT under the current arrangements. He says the party's housing plan will lead to an explosion in affordable homes on the market. Dr. Campbell added that a PNP administration plans to provide a total $1 billion to assist the first-time homeowners under its housing plan.
When a government only increase the amount that you can borrow, what they have done is to increase the demand for houses, and therefore the prices go up every year out of reach. That's why they're selling a 1-bedroom for 20 million and a 2-bedroom for 40 million. Poor people can't afford that. The next PNP government in our first term in office is going to increase the supply of houses. We are going to build 50,000 starter units under the National Housing Trust so that people can buy a house and then expand it to what you want. And when we do that, we are going to ensure that none of them cost more than $10 million.
Curfew extended in Manchester communities. Police in Manchester have extended the curfew in several communities in the parish by another 48 hours. The curfew begins at 6:15 p.m. on Monday, April 7, and will remain in effect until 6:15 p.m. on Wednesday, April 9. Police listed the areas under curfew as Midday, Albion, Green Street, Barnstaple, Tulsa Road, Inverness, Hillside, and New Hall. The boundaries for Williamsfield and the Mandeville areas are Royal Flat and Comfort. North-east along an imaginary line from Royal Flat Road to an area of the Bartleytown community. East-south along an imaginary line from the northern boundary at the Bartleytown community to an area of vegetation in the Hillside community. South-westerly along an imaginary line from an area of vegetation at the eastern boundary at the Hillside community to an area of vegetation in the Rentland Street community. West-northerly along an imaginary line from the southern boundary at the Rentland community to the northern border of Royal Flat Road. In the Christiana area, Craighead, Dobson, Pike, Colleyville, Silent Hill, Tiki Tiki, and the Liner Parish, these boundaries are as follows. North, east along an imaginary line from Cricket to an area of vegetation in Silent Hill, east along an imaginary line from the northern boundary to an area of vegetation at a Silent Hill, southwesterly along an imaginary line from the eastern boundary to a section of the main road at a creek head, west northerly along an imaginary line from the southern boundary bordered by Troy District to Trelawney. During the hours of the curfew, all individuals within its boundaries are being encouraged to remain within their premises unless otherwise authorized by the ground commander. Guys, thanks for watching. Please join us this afternoon at 2 p.m. for another news update.